My guest is Sue Tiong. Sue is a Malaysia based international speaker, business coach, healer, psychic, and mother of two. She owns multiple businesses and humanitarian initiatives. Life brought us together last year in Thailand, where we shared some rare moments of connection. Her early life story, well, she studied journalism and corporate communications and got married, reminds me of Mulan, the Chinese girl who tried to conform and who wanted to honor her family and its traditions. But in doing so, she saved her country. So, hello, dear Sue, and welcome to Theorem. It's wonderful to have you with me.
Hello, Aspasia. I'm so happy to be here.
So, we decided that we'll talk today about pain, and well, pain is it is definitely an element of everybody's life, but it brings discomfort when we talk about it, and of course, when we feel it. What do you think?
So, I deal with a lot of pain
Hmm.
on a personal level and also when I work. Clients won't come to me when they are pain free. Clients only come to me when they feel pain,
Uh-huh.
like literally on their body, or when they feel this heartache
Hmm.
or mental anguish. Okay. And it is a part of life. The Buddha said that life is suffering. There's suffering in life. But whether or not you choose to be suffering
Hmm.
is another matter. Okay. You can be in pain, but you choose you don't want to suffer with the pain.
Hmm.
So it's literally a choice. Like some people, they have the same type of pain, like the same type of illness, and
Hmm.
they're in a lot of pain, but they have different outlook and perspective on how to deal with
Yes.
the pain.
Hmm.
Okay. So some people, they can be in a situation where it brings a lot of heartache to them, and there's a lot of attachment on what kind of expectation they expect out of that situation. But once
Yes.
they let go of the expectation, they are pain free. So I find it's a very poignant topic because pain, we can say that is inflicted by others on us,
Hmm.
or we take it on ourselves. Sometimes we take on even our mother's pain or our father's pain, and
Hmm.
we make it our pain, and we call it intergenerational pain.
Hmm.
It's like I saw my mother toiling very hard, and the only way to be a good wife is to work really hard to please the men, and that's the
Hmm.
way I should be. Sometimes it's that kind of belief. Or the only way I can enjoy money is if I work very hard for it, or else I don't deserve it. So I must go through pains to earn
Hmm.
a living.
Hmm.
So, and then of course we have the inherited diseases as well that's in the DNA. Okay. And so that the same kind of disease is passed on from
Hmm.
generations to generations. And it's very interesting because scientific discovery have actually found a certain type of genome or gene inside your body that is actually passed down from the father to the son and to the grandson. Okay. And also there's multiple types of researchers that have found that the presence of heavy metal due to the use of paraquat or other you know dangerous substances, chemicals that's
Hmm.
used in the environment 3 generations ago is present in a baby that's just born from parents who never touched that substance in their whole life
Yes.
because it's
Hmm.
passed down through the DNA
Hmm.
from that first generation 3 generations ago. So with this, we know that this transcends just what we do with ourselves because it actually passes down from
Hmm.
one generation to the next, the impact of the
Yes.
exposure to all the stuff. So if chemicals can pass down that way, what more to say strong emotions and
Trauma.
pain?
Yes.
Trauma, yes. And
Hmm.
the medical term trauma actually refers to the body suffering from extreme shock and trauma, and it's something that the body is experiencing. And then from the psychology point of view, trauma is when you are actually shocked as well, and your heart just
Mm-hmm.
shut down, your brain just shut down, and you just go into pain because that's the only way you
Mm-hmm.
could cope, to be
Yeah.
drowning in pain sometimes. Yep.
Trauma, by the way, is a Greek word, trauma, which means wound. And
Wound.
yeah, yeah, yes. And also, I'm thinking of people who are in pain, and the reason they are in pain, also physical pain, is resistance. Resistance to what is that they cannot accept.
Well, that is true to a certain extent because I have
Mm-hmm.
witnessed many ladies who are actually in their golden years, their senior years, who may be suffering from dementia. And if
Mm-hmm.
we ask them probe a little bit further, you will see that they have actually led a life of pain. And their
Oh.
stories are actually painful stories of the past, of drama, of trauma, of separation and abandonment, of betrayal. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just so easy for them to just try to forget all that pain.
Mm-hmm.
And in so doing, the brain actually got this instruction: forget it. So, and sooner or later, this forget it actually transcends just that pain to forgetting almost everything in their life. Because
Mm-hmm.
we cannot say that I want to partially open my brain to receive and close it to this pain, So it's
Right.
either or. It's not that simple. So they just want to
Mm-hmm.
forgive about the pain. And my own grandmother, for one, she's already 92 years old this year, and she's very healthy. Her blood works are just perfect, but she has dementia.
Mm-hmm.
But compared to 20 years ago when she was still lucid, she's much happier now because she
Mm-hmm.
forgets and
Mm-hmm.
all the pain and everything. She's like living from day to day, and like really living in the moment. And you could talk to her and she will repeat the same question in 1 minute, like 4 or 5 times. So,
Right.
but she's happier and her energy is just lighter because she forgot the pain.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very big family. She's born into a very big family, and she herself had 12 children, and she lost two. So it's very painful for her. And there were a lot of other things. And so, talking about pain, I'm also dealing with clients who have chronic pain for 30, 40 years. And due to whatsoever reason in their country, they are actually denied painkillers, not even a basic painkiller to help them cope with the pain. And I'm not a drug pusher, okay? I don't advocate drugs. I don't prescribe drugs, okay? But if that helps you to get through the day, by all means, take it. But even that is denied to some of my clients, which is a
Mm-hmm.
pity because in the medical world, they always ask you, how is your pain now on the scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least, 10 being the most. So they want to manage your pain, but it's very sad to see that due to some policies they are even denied the human rights to be pain free.
Mm-hmm.
And there are many, many facets to this, but one thing that I have noticed
Mm-hmm.
in my limited experience on earth, okay, so is that this pain that surface on the physical level is not only existing on the physical level. And they may be aggravated by emotional stress, mental stress, and also on the energetic level if they're dabbling in the arts of energy. Okay, so sometimes it gets worse, sometimes it gets better, and the pain
Mm-hmm.
kind of has a recurring pattern to it. And I also believe in the physiology of what you take, the high vibrational food and the nourishing food, and also the trigger foods as well, especially when it's inflammatory. Okay, the
Mm-hmm.
pain is
Mm-hmm.
caused by inflammation in the body and all that stuff. But I'm no nutritionist, okay? But through if you are helping yourself to cope with your life and your pain, okay, so it helps for you to recognize a polar like a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, recognize a pattern, like when it flares up, what was the trigger, and you just eliminate that from your lifestyle, and that will
Mhm.
help
Mhm.
you to cope with it. Because some people, they have celiac disease, okay, they may have
Mhm.
IBS, and they may have fibromyalgia, okay, which is basically quite unexplainable in the medical field because causes unknown. But we can manage the triggers, and in so doing, we improve the quality of our life. Okay,
Mhm.
and very interestingly is that I have the genetic disposition for colon cancer,
Mhm.
from my paternal side. So when I was in my 20s, I remember I had this severe pain in my abdominal pain. Like I would roll on the ground because I was just in so much pain. I thought my ovary has ruptured or something, but no. Okay. And then, so my digestive system was a mess. And my grandpa actually got diagnosed with colon cancer and died of it. And my uncle from my father's side actually died of colon cancer. My father is a stage one colon cancer carcinoma in situ diagnosed patient, and my aunt also had some kind of things to do with that. So all in the family. And so when I was having all that pain, I went to my specialist after numerous emergency visits because of my abdominal pain. Then I told him of my pain, and he's like, "You're so young. You're just 20." At that time I was in my mid 20s, 20,
Mhm.
25, 26. He's like, "You are so young. I don't think there's anything wrong with you. Maybe it's just gastric wind." So this is more than gastric wind. I feel it below my like my stomach. So, and I told him my grandpa is diagnosed with end stage colon cancer. I feel that you should take a look at it.
Mhm.
So I told my doctor what I wanted to do because I trusted my instinct and I know my family history. So the moment he heard that there's a precedent, like my grandpa had it, so my doctor trusted me and he ordered a thorough investigation into it. So we did the procedures, we did a scope up and down, and yes, I my entire colon was full of ulcers.
Mhm.
Yep. So and it was bleeding and inflammatory. So that's why it was causing me so much pain. It's like really inflamed, and with the ulcers open, like it's like open wound. The whole
Mhm.
colon
Mhm.
was traumatized. If we use that term, wounded trauma. Okay, so yes, I think the term was ulcerative colitis, and also pancolitis, and also IBS on top of that. And
Mhm.
yeah, so my life was just taking pills for like 4 times a day, and each pill cost me like $1 each. So you times that, and luckily the insurance covered it. So I was actually on screening every 3 months to go back, and the medicine didn't help. It didn't help at all with my condition, but that was the best drug they had. So I was just
Mhm.
put on that for 9 months.
Mhm.
Went back for three scannings and screenings, and nothing improved. But the doctor couldn't do anything else because medically speaking, he was giving me the best treatment,
Right.
and he cannot cut off the entire colon because the whole colon was
Mhm.
just inflamed and all that. He couldn't cut it off, or else I'll be using the bag already. So and then so and then one day the pain was gone,
Mhm. So what
and
has changed?
I could eat I could eat all my trigger food. I could eat all my trigger food, and like I was avoiding hot, spicy tom yum noodles, and that all that thing I was craving for it, and I ate it, and I was just waiting to be punished after that, because each time after I eat it, I'll be rolling in pain. I was like, the pain never came, and then it went on, and I went for a test, and then I had all the symptoms of being pregnant,
Oh.
and I was so happy because I just got married. I wanted to get pregnant immediately. I wanted to be a mother more than anything in the world. And then the moment I had all the symptoms, I was barfing, having morning sickness, and um, I was just like, I was triggered by the new paint that I just walked past the shop. And I was like, hey, I'm enjoying my food now. And I called my doctor and say, hey, I think I'm pregnant. And I stopped having, normal painful reaction to my condition. And I started to eat all this. Like, congratulations, please stop the medicine now. Okay, because you're pregnant, we don't know the side effects of the medicine on your baby. And then, so yeah, so I stopped it. I was so happy. I was celebrating. And to cut the story short, I lost the baby. Okay, I lost the baby, and that was a very painful experience because I was really hoping and expecting, like I wanted, but it was my dream. And
Mhm.
then I came to terms with it like 10 years after that. Like, it took me 10 years, like, to really release that. Like, I was literally energetically carrying the baby inside of me. I didn't want to let it go. Okay. And then, like, then I came to terms with my own pain of losing my child, with the fact that, sometimes people come to us for a purpose, and maybe this baby's purpose was just to heal me. The
Wow.
doctor just said, like 1 month after I lost my baby, I went to my doctor and said, why not we scan you again, screen you? Because, like,
Mhm.
after all that happened, we missed our scanning and everything. So I went for the scope, up and down, and the doctor say, my ulcers are 95% clear. So
Mhm.
there's a medical record there that showed before that and after that. So it was a miracle because I stopped my medicine the moment it happened, and then everything else just happened like that, and then then it was followed by the test that showed that I was cleared,
Mhm.
95% cleared, and just left like maybe just 5%. Then it slowly healed after that. I have no more painful reactions and all that. So I was cured, and the doctor say sometimes there's just no explanation in the modern medicine world that sometimes pregnancy it causes extreme pain, like it hurts you or it cures you, and
Mhm.
so does everything else in the world, especially when your body undergoes huge transformation. And I do believe that the mind over matter really works too. Okay, like how a mother with so much love for the child can lift up the entire rock or a vehicle that is trampling her child, that is way beyond her capacity, but it's that
Mhm.
inner reserve that actually help her to surpass all that limitations. So we have seen many many cases like that. But of course, people will be skeptical and say, how many times will you have miracles in your life? So they're like, I don't believe it. So if you don't believe it, it won't happen. If you believe it, it happens. Then fast forward to my 30s. I actually had something to do with like pain on my lower back,
Mhm.
and also I have scoliosis, means my spine is curved to one side. The curvature is quite quite big. So one side of the body is bigger than the other side. Okay, so as asymmetrical that way. So at first it didn't cause me any discomfort, but as I grow older, the fusion actually started to erode and degenerate. So I was in so much pain, and at that time I already adopted my son, and he
Mhm.
was hospitalized for some reason, respiratory illness, when he was a child. I was very small, so I was I was feeling this sharp pain on my lower back for 3 days while I was with him. I was like, this is not normal. So I was at the hospital anyway, right? So I got my husband to relieve me for that 2 hours. I went to the opposite block from the pediatric ward to the orthopedic ward to get myself checked out. And we did the scan and x-ray and everything. And I saw that, okay, my lower back is like the bone, okay, was just, causing me so much impact on the nerve. And that's why it was so painful. So it was impacted. And so I went through physiotherapy, I went through all that stuff, and I was on painkiller every day and back to medicine again. And somehow, also at the same time, I was also trying out alternative therapies,
Mhm.
including acupunctures and all that stuff. Because of pain, then I dabbled in all these healing methods. And my son at that time was also in a lot of discomfort, okay, because he came to me traumatized. He was adopted, like I mentioned, and his biological mother had trauma when carrying him when he was still in utero. So that
Mhm.
caused him to carry that trauma forward to when he was a newborn, that he lost his voice within 3 days
Oh,
that
wow.
the doctor was like saying he just need to regulate his emotions. I was like, how can you tell a newborn to regulate an emotion? And the trauma is so much more than his little body could heal. So all of these factors combined, it actually led me to who I am today, because I really went out for I went all out. I wanted answers. How can I help my son? And after that, I had pain, so I cannot ignore physical pain. So I had to find answers for myself too. And I found out the more I heal myself, the calmer my son was.
Mm-hmm.
And the more peaceful I felt, the more peaceful he was. And then I really deep dive into my own shadows, my own fears, my own pain, emotionally and mentally as well. And in so doing, somehow, over the course of a few years, my pain at my lower back just went away. It was, I think, for 2 months of pain free back that I was like, hey, there's no pain anymore. It was very gradual that I didn't even notice it. So it was like 2 months of no popping pills and nothing. I was like, it's gone. And I trace it back to a very deep session that I had where I released a lot of stuff from an emotional level that I have stored on that particular area of my
Mm-hmm.
life. And I do believe that the Achilles heel, the weakest point in our body, stores our greatest fears and our biggest pains.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I thank my pain. I thank my pain because they are like reminding me of what to work on and what not to ignore. And I was so glad. I'm really glad. No, am still glad that that pain happened to me and I listened to them. So today, what I do is that I follow guidance and I ask pain to lead the way. And
Mm-hmm.
usually, when I connect with my clients or anyone, I feel them. So, okay, so maybe this is a little bit far out for some of you out there who don't believe in clairvoyance, that psychic ability and all that stuff. But as I get more in tune with myself, I find myself connecting to other people very much in tune as well, that it has become like a superpower of sorts. Okay. But anyone actually can be in tune. I'm not special.
Mm-hmm.
All of us
May
can
I
do this.
may I add
Yeah.
something? In my opinion, pain is the number one language of our body to communicate with us. Because sometimes the way the body is trying to tell us that, hey, there's something wrong here, is too subtle, like this, like a tap on the shoulder, and we ignore it. Or it can be a feeling in the belly area, or it can be something like a headache, something that is not as loud for us to take seriously. um, but I've seen time and time again that the body chooses pain when the message needs to be heard. And both in my own body and in my practice, I've seen it multiple times. Usually, for example, neck pain or here at the um, shoulders is related, for example, most times to situations when the person is unable to see that there are other options and they're struggling with the only option they see available. And sometimes these people cannot turn their head, it's too painful, but the body's giving you a very, very clear signal there that there are more options. That's why you're in pain. And also the lower back pain, that very often is connected to the feeling that either the financial burden is too big or the burden in general, what things that you believe that are up to you to handle. And you believe that you're too small for these things, or they maybe you deserve help dealing with those things and you don't have it. This causes very often lower back pain. So I'm just giving examples to show that sometimes It can take a minute or two to just change your mind, change your thought pattern, and the pain is poof, it's gone. It has happened to me, and of course, it's easier said than done. Of course, otherwise nobody would have pain. Of course.
Well, yes, and that is there is actually a book by Louise Hay that talks about the pain and the correlation to the body and what kind of area in your life that needs to be looked at.
Hmm.
And it's just a guidance, and every individual differs in terms of where they store the pain and what has that got to do with their life.
Of
And
course.
there's also this one client of mine who actually suffered from um, the skeletal, like her muscular skeletal. She had surgery, and then it was a botched up surgery where the surgeon did something wrong, and then the bone is jutting out and
Hmm.
pressing against her nerves. And then it's like the more they operate on it, the surgery, it get worse. So that is actually a physical it's a it's a very unfortunate event that happened to her. So I'd like to say that yes, and so she was very indignant and she was very angry. Of course, it's not her fault. Okay, so then she said that how can I just release my emotion and cure this, because this is like something that is jutting out from me physically. So when that happens, if anyone in the audience feel this kind of like, this is not my fault, it's not just I release my emotion and I will feel so much better, because this is actually impacting me physically and it's not my fault. The doctor did something wrong, it's their mistake. I would say that, what was actually the how was your energy, like how was the energetic feel, like what was happening in your life around the same time that the surgery happened. Okay, because things don't just happen, and I'm not saying it's your fault. Okay, I'm not saying it's your fault. So like, maybe it was a very low time, like maybe you were undergoing extreme stress, or maybe you were undergoing like a lot of drama at home, whether or not it's a divorce or somebody else's divorce or something, and then like it was just a very low point, or you lost a job or something, and then everything just come to a head, and it happened that way. Okay, so if that happens, okay, like sometimes you say, oh, it's just bad luck.
Hmm.
Yes and no. And just like, why are we born to this family? Why couldn't I be born to be Bill Gates' daughter or something? So it's just how it's just the energy came together, it converged, and that happened. So sometimes it's worth looking at, like, when was the pain first created? It's created through the surgery, but what happens surrounding that? How was the
Hmm.
energy around there? Maybe there's something there that you can look at and release, okay, emotionally and mentally as well, and see how that actually correct the
Hmm.
physical deformity. I'll call it deformity because it's jutting out. Okay, so and then there are also incidents where psychic surgery happen without much effort from the person's body, and you allow it to just self-correct
Hmm.
gradually. Okay, and And there are also many, many other types of treatment that you can go for, okay, including homeopathy. I'm not professing that kind of stuff, but if you feel that's for you, then go for it. The naturopathy, homeopathy, whatever thing, natural, the herbals, and all that. Just be very cautious about it. And you really need to know what you're taking into your body, because sometimes it's not pure and they add some more additives into it. Okay, we don't know that. So unless you go for the traditional Chinese medicine, where you have to boil the herbs and it's very bitter or sour or whatever that you have to down. But I went down that route as well because I was in pain to conceive after I lost my baby. So I actually took the Chinese medicine for close to a year, and
Hmm.
I unblocked my tubes because it was blocked. So there's also medical record there that showed that it was blocked. One side was blocked, and after I took that, I went for another scan, and then it's like it's unblocked. So that way it was solved as well. Like there are so many various ways. Whatever that you feel you resonate to, you can accept. Then so be
Hmm.
it. You accept it and you use that to make your life better, the quality, improve the quality. So
So,
yeah. So I like to add. Yeah, yeah.
what is your opinion about the notion that the body is constantly striving to achieve an equilibrium, a balance.
Well, we are walking miracles, because I think that I read it somewhere in a medical journal that we our body is always fighting
Mm-hmm.
to maintain this health, good health, optimal health. It's a miracle that we are not sick. Okay, because of all that onslaught of germs and all that thing that's flying around and on inside outside, and it's a miracle we're healthy. So we are walking miracles. And then there are so many books that you can read about healing yourself, eating your way to health and all that stuff. There are so many ways that we keep the balance, and there's no one only way. Okay,
Yeah.
so whatever that is helping you, just do it.
Yeah. So what? Let's talk about emotional pain, and um, yeah, what what is your advice to people who are in pain, emotional pain?
I didn't get your what's the word again?
What is your advice to people who are in
Yeah.
emotional pain?
Emotional pain. Okay. I deal with a lot of people with trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So people who have been abused as children when they were really young, whether or not it be physical abuse, sexual abuse, and also emotional abuse. Okay. And also a lot of shame and guilt surrounding that, and a lot of anger and blame. So usually when you have emotional pain, either is because of something big that happened to you, or something that is missing in your life, like a void. So even though the child has never been abused before, but maybe that child was neglected. So in a way, it's abuse, but no. But or maybe the parents were not present in their formative years and they were outsourced, and the
Mm-hmm.
child knows. And also, I adopted both my children, so they already come with emotional pain, the
Yes.
separation from their biological mother who
Mm-hmm.
carried them until they were delivered. So that uh, actually manifests in so many different ways and so many different symptoms. Okay, and I'm still amazed at how much I learned from both my children, because they are traumatized kids, so and my son is the extreme, where he would turn into incredible hug, and he would be enraged for like 45 minutes nonstop, and then I had to step in only after he cooled down, because if not he will hurt me and hurt himself. And then we actually went the route, tried so many things, until we could finally identify there's actually inflammation in the brain. And
Oh.
once we reduce that inflammation in that part of the brain, he could regulate his emotion, and we could teach him coping techniques. So I do believe that nutrition plays a very big role, and some kind of medication, if it helps them to cope and adapt and acquire the skills to self regulate.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you are not in that state, you cannot absorb anything, you cannot be taught any new skills. But if you manage to calm down and be receptive to acquiring a new skill to cope, then that will actually help in the long run, even if the situation is reversed, like you stop taking that medicine
Mm-hmm.
because you already acquired the skill. So it's very interesting that I've gone through down this route of being an adoptive parent, because it's very different from having your own kid, where they come with less baggages and trauma and pain. And I also remember this talk, and this phrase has been used and used, and I think it was Les Brown who said it, or somebody else. If a dog, dog, okay, if a dog sits on a nail, and the
Mm-hmm.
nail is like poking lightly, okay, gently on the butt, it will move. But if that nail is it pokes deeper and the pain is greater, then it will move its butt. Okay.
Yes.
So all these pain I see are actually very good reminders to me to move my butt. Okay. And to really find solutions and learn more things. And now I see why, because I am advocating, open communication with children, and talk about, the trauma and everything, and also be open about the adoption, and removing the stigma and the shame and different types of pain, and how families come together, and all generally about life. Okay, generally
Mm-hmm.
about life, how you can be different and don't conform, and you don't make it a pain. Like, because people feel that sometimes the shame is the pain, and I'm holding this secret inside of me, I cannot disclose to anyone that this is happening to
Mm-hmm.
me. But you know what, there are so many people who are suffering in silence and they are in pain, and that your sharing may help them. So for those of you who are in pain, especially emotional pain, and if your pain comes from a space of like, I cannot let people know that I'm suffering because I don't want to be ashamed, I don't want to be judged, then I invite you to see the other side of it. If you have a little bit of inkling, a little bit of feeling that I think that I can share with someone, but I don't know who, then follow that little subtle voice and share it anyway. Because if
Mm-hmm.
just one soul can breathe easier and can sleep better and get peace of mind because of your sharing, that is well worth it. It's really well worth it to open yourself up and be vulnerable with that pain and show people how human you are. Okay, because nobody's perfect. And if anything, what I have received through my sharing over the years, because my son just turned 10 years old, I've been sharing since day one. So so it's like the past 10 years has been a very fulfilling year where people come up to me, and instead of laughing at me or the worst fears like I will be judged, if anything, they are very supportive, and they thank me for sharing, for being honest and candid about it, for being very
Mm-hmm.
raw with my sharing, because it helped them, and they actually shared my sharing, which is
Mm-hmm.
public, to other parents as well, and it helped them too. And there's always a rule to the exception, you know. So follow your instinct, follow your gut, share just enough to help other people. You don't have to share everything. And if they do come to me privately, then I'll share more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, my children my children are still dealing with emotional pain for sure. It's something that they carry for life. Okay. And they have to deal with that. But there are coping mechanisms, there are tools that they can use, and I try to equip them with that. And you know, sometimes healing is a process, is not an end goal. So if
Mm-hmm.
we can find peace along the way and allow that process to take place, and we don't need to heal completely, because we
Mm-hmm.
don't stop healing until we die. So I don't feel that it's a failure, that you know I cannot remove all the pain from my kid. And it helps me as a mother as well, because you know, you have sometimes mothers tend to be overprotective. You want to remove all the pain from your child so they won't suffer. But I find it very accepting of life in a way. Like, it's teaching me to be humble and and come back to reality, saying that I cannot shelter them from pain forever.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be out there, to go out to the world and live their life, and I cannot be there for them all the time. So I guess that this pain is actually a teacher in life for
Yes.
everyone, not only for
Mm-hmm.
me. Yeah.
So, in a way, we are lucky to have a teacher, to have this something, a nudge to think differently and move forward and evolve.
Yeah, and without pain, we would have no motivation to do anything in life, because we don't feel pain, you know. I'm happy with just the way I am, you know. So because there's pain, then you strive to do something differently. You want to improve, you want to make it better, you know. So no pain, no gain, really.
Okay. I don't like this very much. But yeah.
Well, I'm not a sucker for pain. Okay, I'm not addicted to pain. But when pain does happen, I do take a look at it, and I don't treat it like I should not feel no pain. I should not feel pain. You know,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
take it like friend is my friend. Friend is
Yes,
like my friend is trying to tell me something,
yes,
even though it's painful. You know,
yes.
because
And it's,
sometimes the truth hurts.
yes,
Truth sometimes hurts, but it's like surgery. It heals.
yes.
So So yeah, and some people, they don't want to feel the pain, so they numb the pain
Yes.
through gambling, through addiction, through alcohol, through
And this is just
just numbing their
postponing,
senses
really.
to be on the mobile phone all the time, because they want to get away from the pain. And then if you continue to do that, one day it will manifest in a physical pain that you cannot ignore anymore. So
Absolutely.
so it
Absolutely.
happens so often. So I'm
Yes,
not saying
yes.
it will happen to everyone, but it will come out in some way or another, because you
Mm-hmm,
cannot
mm-hmm,
eliminate something that you try to push under.
mm-hmm.
Right? It will come out. It's like it's a sooner or later thing. So
Just a sec.
yeah,
Give me one
yeah.
second because for some reason I'm running out of battery. Just one second.
Okay.
I'm plugged in, but I don't know what's wrong. Okay. I don't know why. This is okay. We're back.
Are you charged up?
Excuse me.
You already plugged in the charger?
I was plugged in. Maybe I pulled it or something. Anyway,
Okay.
sorry about that.
Yeah, I think we can close this.
Yes, yes, we can. So, what we were saying, um, oh, so pain could be an ally, really. And if we treat pain as an ally, then everything changes.
Yes. And for those of you who are undergoing some mental anguish, and you say that I don't want to think anymore, my mind is playing tricks on me, I feel like, I just don't want to think anymore. I want to be blank. Why not you embrace the mind and you thank your thoughts? Because usually those thoughts are in the future. I'm worried about the future. Oh, I feel very bad about the past.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there may be shame or guilt or blame. Okay, that has got to do with the past, or worry about the future. What will happen in the future? What if? What if? What if? Okay, so if you can thank your mind for planning ahead or for reflecting on the past, thank it and say, "I hear you, but we are fine now. Let's work together to find a solution so that we can feel at peace."
Mm-hmm.
So enroll your mind to be your ally as well. That's what I always tell my clients. I say, you don't have to say that I don't want my head anymore. You need your head, okay? You need your brain, you need your mind. And it's a brilliant mind. Don't look down on your mind. Okay. And the reason why it goes into overthinking and overdrive is because there's fear that you may repeat the mistake.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to go wrong. You don't want to do it wrong by yourself. So just thank your mind and say, yeah, thank you for keeping me safe. I know better. And assure yourself and assure your mind, we can do better now. We, as in you and the mind, okay? Like
Yes.
two different entities. And you got a partner there, you got an ally, you got a friend. So, whatever pain that you may be in, be it emotional, mental, or physical, there's always a way out. I believe it's the in the Islamic Muslims writing that it says that Allah will not give a pain without a cure. There's always a solution to every pain. Okay. So I believe in that. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. And there's not only one way, because every road leads to Rome. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever that rocks your boat, whatever that you choose to do, if it's right for you, if it feels right, go for it. There's no one right way.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your personal story and your amazing point of view on pain. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. So if I can add a little bit more. Okay. So I'm a psychic, right? So as I open up more and more over the years, and I receive more guidance and downloads, and I'm actually running a trial right now, testing out a new pain um, coping method. Okay. possibly removing physical pain from your body. And if anyone would like to know more about that, can reach out to me, okay, to be included in the next trial. So, so it can be done anywhere energetically.
Great,
Okay.
great. Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Theorem podcast. Connect with me on social media at Aspasia Provou and at theorem.podcast and share your thoughts. You may support us on Patreon. Visit the website aspasiaprovou.com/theorem for more. Kalema sindoma, meaning talk to you soon in Greek. Aspasia's Theorem podcast does not provide advice, medical or any other kind. It just presents the opinions of its host and guests. If you have any specific problems, please visit your physician or a medical expert for help. Anything said should not be taken as a replacement for medical, clinical, or professional advice, diagnosis, or medical intervention. The episodes of Aspasia's Theorem podcast may, at times, cover sensitive topics, including, but not limited to, mental health, nutrition, health, politics, spirituality, alternative medicine, energy healing, and the use of plant medicines. You're advised to refrain from continuing if you are adversely impacted by any of these topics.